on BIM for residential design and how BIM software can drive profit to your business. We're going to start off the presentation with just a little kind of an educational piece on BIM. What is BIM? Everyone seems to have a different meaning for BIM, so I just want to give you a really good definition of BIM, why it is important for your business, and where the market is going with BIM, so you have a clear picture of what it is, where it's going in the future, and how you can implement it into your business. We're going to give you a presentation using Envisioneer, a BIM software package, on how to use BIM in your presentation, in your business as well. And then following the presentation, I'm going to open up the chat panel to any questions you might have. And at that time, I'm going to introduce you to Don Cable, the Australian distributor for Cadsoft software. And he'll tell you about the services that he provides for the Australian market and BIM software. So let's begin with our presentation, specifically looking at BIM and what BIM is and the impact it has on the business. Well, if you look through history on design itself in the residential market, 2D CAD was introduced to kind of overthrow hand drafting. And 2D CAD automated the 2D drawing process, but it really didn't change it, because when you were drawing in 2D and in a 2D CAD package, you weren't really doing anything different than what you were doing when you were hand drafting. Still drawing a line, still offsetting it, still measuring everything the same. The amount of information available will escalate rapidly and become overwhelming. Everything is becoming intelligent. You have your smartphones. Every device you have is becoming more and more intelligent. So we have to get a hold of all of that information that's available out there in technology and kind of harness it in our design package so you can use it and implement it into your business in a useful manner. Data transfer will become the greatest concern for BIM projects. So how you can transfer information from your model into other facets of your business and be able to use them. BIM means building information modeling. So you're building a model that's intelligent that can be shared. There's a wrong definition that seems to be going on in the marketplace that any kind of 3D model is a BIM model. But it's not. It has to be that intelligent model that can pass information back and forth through other software packages, and you can implement through other parts of your business. So just because you're drawing a 3D model doesn't make it a BIM package, and we'll go through that in our presentation today. For small businesses, if you're a small residential builder and you're maybe a two-person show, you're the designer, you're the builder, you're everything, it's the best position to utilize BIM on projects is because you have that greater control over the entire project data. You're that one person, that hub, and BIM software will work right with you to control all parts of your business. So what are the initial benefits of bringing a BIM package to your office, having an intelligent model? What does it give you? Well, first off, through the very basics, it's going to give you fast 3D presentations. Because you've got that 3D model, you can now share that with your clients. Clients that had a hard time visualizing spaces and concepts that you were having for them can now, just using that 3D model, understand the whole design process much better. And because they can realize from the beginning what you're designing, it has an improved client understanding and less surprises on site. There's nothing worse than having your client show up on site and staring blankly at your design thinking that's not at all what they had visualized. So when you have that 3D model, at least it's giving you the ability to share that design concept with your clients so they can understand your design. And because you have that 3D model, and I'm thinking of our Envisioneer software for our next point, it can automatically pull off of that drawing component. Elevation sections, roof plan details. Because it's a BIM model, an intelligent model, it knows when you're modeling all the different elevations, the sections, the roof plans, and all the details, the framing components that go into that. So it can automatically pull those off to create your working drawings for you. And because, again, it's an intelligent model, you can have updating of your drawing sets. I'm sure every one of you has been in that situation where you've completed a design, got all of your working drawings finished, you've printed them, and the client walks back in the door and says, you know what, I'd really like a change. I need something different. Could you make a couple changes for me? Well, back in the day when we were hand drafting, that was like a nightmare. You got out that electric eraser and you did what you could, updated as quickly as you could to get those drawings done on time so you could meet some schedules. And even when you started, optimizing your business and putting it in CAD, that 2D CAD, at least it got a little easier. You could erase some lines, but it was still the same process. Now, because of intelligent modeling, if you make a change, a click of the button, and it can update your sheets for you. You can pick which ones you want to update and which ones you don't. It intelligently will allow you to pick and choose. And I'll show you the benefit of that when we do get into our live presentation of a BIM model. But what are the extended benefits? What are the true benefits that you can derive from that intelligent model? Well, framing. Once you've created that BIM model, you can create cut lists. You can take wall panel diagrams off the model and send them out to your panel machine. You can look at span tables that you put into the software according to your local building codes, and it will use that span table so that it can create the right header information over your openings for you. You also get a bill of materials and estimates. Because, again, you're working with that intelligent model, when you're building a wall, it doesn't think it's lines. It knows it's a wall. It knows the components of that wall, and it can spill them all out into a bill of materials for you so you can automatically hand your client a nice-looking estimate. Schedules. We're talking window, door, member schedules, room finish schedules. Again, it knows it's an intelligent model. So automatically it knows these different components and can spit them out into a schedule for you. So you don't have to take the time to draw those separate components. So when we talk about BIM software driving profit, the real profit comes in the time saving. You're creating that one model, that one concept drawing that you showed to a client. And that one concept drawing becomes the intelligent model where you're going to pull up all of this information. So that's what's going to drive that profit for you, being able to analyze every different material that you're building into this home that's going to appear in that bill of materials, having all of this automated information. There's also structural information. The intelligent model has the ability to be exported out in a number of different software packages. We'll review those for you, and then they can be structurally analyzed in these different packages. Because it's a 3D model, you can also do some interference checking. Looking through the model in 3D, did you leave and allocate enough headroom in your stairwells? Is there enough room for a window in an area where you have reduced head height, perhaps in a vaulted ceiling application? Lighting calculations. You can put lights inside a space. That light will have automatic information about the lumens in that space. So you can see how the light is going to bounce off the room, and you can look at the space and evaluate if you need more lighting in that area. You can also export it out to different energy analysis software packages, and I'll show you the option that we have in the software. And because you can put span tables in the software, you can do kind of a building code check. I'll show you how you can update those span tables so it can do the check on the opening sizes that you have. So these are all the extended benefits of using a BIM package. And I'm going to profile these to you when we do our presentation right now. So I'm just going to start up my Cadsoft Envisioneer software, and we'll show you how you can create a BIM model. Now, the one thing about a BIM model, too, to implement it into your business, you want to make sure that it's a package that's easy to use. You don't want to implement a very difficult, very hard to understand package, because that's going to take you back a step. Because if it's difficult to use, then you're less apt to use it when you really need to. When you're in that bind, you've got to get a set of drawings out. Are you going to use that package that's really kind of difficult to use? No. Technology has come so far, even in the last 5 years, that the applications are much easier to use. With Envisioneer, what we've done is we've laid out all of our tools in this tabbed format. Am I building something like a wall, a door, a window, an opening, a floor, a ceiling, a roof, stairs, railings, columns, beams, footings? Am I putting something inside the interior? Cabinetry, appliances, electronics, furniture. All of them are logically laid out. Landscapes. There's 7,500 different plants, fences, decks, terrain information where you can import the site data. So there again is the sharing of information to make it a true BIM package, being able to share that terrain data. I'm going to click here on the building tab, and I'm going to start off by drawing walls. Clicking on this wall tool, my catalog panel over to the right of the screen, you can see shows different types of walls. As I click on these various tools, that catalog panel will update to show me the options that are available for this particular tool. At the end of our presentation, when we introduce Don Cable, he'll talk about his customized catalog that he's built for the Australian market, putting in the products that you can order. So clicking on this wall tool now, I'm going to select a wall from the catalog. I'm going to select this wall that has stucco. And I just move my cursor into the drawing screen area, and I left click to get started. You'll notice as I pull my cursor that it's showing me how long that wall is. You'll also notice down at the bottom of my screen, as I'm moving my cursor, it's reporting distance and direction. I can automatically type. I'm just going to type 6,000 and hit enter. And it's already built that wall that exact length. So you can go through the screen typing in exact dimensions if you want to, or just using the visuals on the screen, the dimensions that are appearing if this is a new design concept that you're coming up with. We also have the ability to line up walls with existing walls that are there. So you've got a lot of design flexibility with the software. Point and click to create a space. Type in exact dimensions, or you can also line up walls with existing walls that are already in there to build the exterior shell. I'm going to zoom in on that for you. Now, the walls that I put in, I'm just going to double click on them to bring up their information. This is what makes it a true BIM package. It's a BIM package because I wasn't just drawing walls. I was drawing intelligent walls. Walls that knew they were framed. Walls that knew they were framed with a particular framing member that I could pull out of my catalog, and I could add in purchase member lengths to it. So each one of these members would be pulled off in the length that I need to order. Walls that knew exactly how tall they were, going to the top and bottom tab, they'll know that when I put a roof on, to automatically extend them up to whatever plate height I put in with that roof. Walls that knew to add trim to them automatically. I could add crown molding, chair rail, baseboard, opening casing, any type that I want to. I just select here from my catalog, choose the exact size that I want, and click OK. That trim can be any custom profile that you want to add in. So you can show it the exact profile of the trim, and it will use it for you. Again, matching whatever you want to order from that manufacturer. Under our Appearance tab, It also gets the intelligence of seeing the exact materials. And these materials themselves can hold the pricing of how much it's going to cost for that finish. So with this stucco finish, or if it was siding, or if it was brick, I could apply a price to that, assemble a group of materials that I would need to order when I'm doing the stucco or the brick or the siding. So I can order those too. This last tab here, this quantity tab, this is what's going to give it, again, that BIM model intelligence. When I'm building this wall, it knows to order stucco veneer, wall ties, felt paper insulation, drywall, vapor barrier paint, whatever products that you want to order every time that you draw this wall and that you want to quantify, you add it into this list. And if it's added into this list, it's going to give you a quantity. Because you can see that there's formulas driven behind each one of those elements, so it knows exactly how to quantify it. So that gives that intelligence to those walls. And if I pop this into a 3D view, you can see that these are walls. I can walk around and look at the walls in 3D. Where did they get their height? How did these walls know to come in to this height? Where did they get that intelligence from? When we set up and start drawing the walls, they follow rules that we have here under our building locations information. So when I'm drawing on the ground floor, or what you might call the first floor, what is the height of the wall? What is the ceiling height in that space? It allows you to differentiate between the two in case you have a suspended ceiling situation. And when I'm drawing on this location, you can see that they have very specific framing options that I can set to. How am I going to infill that wall? I'm going to put the studs at 406 millimeters on center. Here's our span tables. Remember we talked about how to intelligently tell it what product to use per span. This is where you can fill them in. And you can see by looking at them, you get a little framed video, a visual here of exactly what it's going to look like. So you can use that information in your span tables. Set it up to your local building code so every time you draw, it intelligently knows how you want to put in the openings with that. And it doesn't matter if you're working in 2D or if you're working in 3D. The software is intelligent enough to know that you can work in any appearance that you want to so that it can insert the elements. So as an example, I'm going to grab onto my door tool now. Catalog panel updates with different door styles. All I have to do is slide my door along a wall, left click, and it's in. And you can see that I can look inside the house and see exactly what it's going to look like. The window tool is the exact same thing. Catalog full of windows, and I can grab any style and simply insert them along a wall, or right click and say center them along the wall and find that center point. Move yourself around the model with these tools. You can quickly fly around the model and put in any size of opening that you want to. You can right click and even add any size that you want. So if you have a really custom situation and the client wants a certain size of window, come in here, change those sizes, change the style to whatever that you want it to be, and it will use those for you. So you can play with all of these settings and create the exact window that you need to for that particular job. And I'll just change this one. Let's make that 1,000 there. And then you can just grab that from the catalog then and insert it wherever you want. Again, right-click, centers them to put them in. For those of you that are used to a 2D environment, maybe you're hand drafting, perhaps you are using a 2D CAD package. You're going to feel more comfortable working in 2D. Well, you certainly can. Just as I had inserted the windows in the 3D, I can certainly do that in 2D. So work where you are most comfortable. Make the BIM package work for you. Don't feel that you have to work with the BIM package, they're flexible. This software, Envisioneer, is very flexible, and it can work however you'd like to. I'm going to put a ceiling inside our space, and we can even walk inside. So I'm going to grab a camera, place a little camera here inside the door, and walk around inside. And as I'm walking around inside, this is a little tour you can take your clients on, showing them the space. What is it going to look like so they can understand that space? And in this space right here, let's use this space to design an interior component. So let's click on that interiors. And under interiors, I'm going to click on cabinetry. We have a full catalog of different cabinet styles. Again, these can all be updated and changed so that they match the styles that you want to use. And then you just grab one and see how they intelligently know how to line themselves up against a wall. As I move them against different walls, it's an intelligent object. It's a BIM object. It knows it's a cabinet. It knows that the back of that cabinet needs to be up against the wall, not the front. So as I move it across the room, it'll automatically rotate itself. Again, BIM's got to be easy. This has got to be an easy package that you can sit down and design in front of a client. So we introduce different wizards for you. I'm going to use this kitchen builder. I tell it the shape of the kitchen that I want to design. Doesn't matter what style that you're using. The orientation of the cabinetry and with the appliances and the plumbing fixtures. And then I choose my style of cabinetry and countertop. And the model that I'm using here has, 6 basic different styles, but these are limitless possibilities. All of our finishes, that countertop material, that cabinet material, they're simply JPEGs and bitmaps. So if you have that nice custom finish that you want to show to a client, take a digital picture of it. Download it from the manufacturer's website so you can see that exact paint finish or that exact marble, Carrera marble countertop that you want to show them exactly how that upgraded little piece can really make a big impact on the design of their home. So you can upsell with a product like this. Sitting down in front of a client, you can easily show them the difference between the quality of materials, and they can visualize them. I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to choose Finish here. And then see this chalk line outline on the floor? That's the outline of where I'm going to be putting this kitchen. So I'm going to draw it out into this area right here, hit Yes, and there's the cabinetry. And then from there, well, that space at the end is just begging for a door. So I'll put a door right there. You could fill in more cabinetry in between. And all of these cabinets, all of these appliances that are in here, they're all individual elements. So if I wanted to grab this one, look at its properties, and tell it that I wanted it to be just an open shelving unit, I can do that. Or what if I wanted to make that 1,400 in height? And now that it's 1,400 in height, well, what if I wanted to make that 4 shelves? And under appearance, what if I wanted it to have a different color? Well, every one of the components of this cabinet can have a different color associated to it. And because it's intelligent, it has quantity information behind it. I know I'm ordering that upper cabinet, and that's going to appear in my material list, so I can see it going through. Click OK, it updates, and I can elevate it to any height that I want to. So if I want to go to some staggered height design, I can apply different heights and see what it's going to look like with the different heights on it. Just keep applying and seeing what it's going to look like at different heights until you find the one that you like. So walking through this model, you can show your client the space. Use the interior furniture and fill it out so they can see and visualize exactly what it's going to look like. But again, this is not just a pretty picture you're walking through. It's an intelligent model. We talked about lighting. You can see that the space looks lit up already. The camera has a headlight on it. So even before you add a light into the space, that headlight's going to illuminate the space for you, so you've got good lighting in the space. But again, we have the lighting tool. So you can grab any kind of light from the catalog, and as you drag it in, see how it's going to illuminate? That gives you the opportunity to show your clients the effects that lighting is going to have on a design, because lighting does have a great impact on the design. And by looking at the lights in the space, you can be very specific about how many watts that light is. Is it on or is it off? Where's the light in that space? You can direct the light. You can tilt it. So if these were pot lights in the ceiling, you can direct that light to show exactly how the effect of that directed light is going to have. Making this a true BIM package as well, the lighting files are IES files, and you can load them from various manufacturers. So we can take the IES files off of the various lighting manufacturers and load them into the software so you can see exactly how that light that they're offering in that bulb is going to illuminate your space. That's what makes it a true BIM package, being able to utilize information from different sources in your intelligent model. And again, it's not just a pretty picture. We can go to view framing, display the framing, and understand the framing that we put into the space already. What is building these walls? What is the information behind them? And perhaps on one of these walls, you wanted to frame it a little bit different. It's following the rules of our building location and putting all of the spacing between our studs, but we can go into this framing mode and tell it on this particular wall we want to use a custom infill. And with that custom infill, I'm going to tell it here, let's pick one other one here. I'm going to tell it there's blocking or nogging in that wall. And I can tell it exactly what height it's going to be at. And I could tell it that I want it staggered along that wall. Or I don't want it staggered, and I want it on the flat. All of that information in that wall, all of that framing detail can be pushed out into wall panel diagrams that you can send right out to a machine. All of the material that it's using is being piece counted as we put it in, creating that bill of materials for you. So the 3D model isn't just a 3D model. This is what differentiates creating a 3D model in a true BIM package. What makes this a BIM package is the added intelligence behind it and the ability to push that information out to different sources. I'm going to go back up and turn off the framing so we get our pretty picture again. Let's return back out to the outside. We're still missing a roof. I'm going to put this back down into 2D, go back to my building tab, and click on our roof tool. Now that catalog panel to the right is going to update with roofing styles. Again, what makes this an easy BIM package is because using the tools are all the same. I pick on walls, the catalog panel to the right shows me my options. I left click to get started, and I draw my walls. I pick my doors, catalog updates, I insert them. Same with the roof. I'm going to tell it that I want to put a roof on the perimeter of this house, the entire extent, and that I want it to be tiled and 30-degree slope. Left click, and it puts the roof on. It's intelligent. It knows how to put on every ridge, every valley, every hip that it needs to create a 30-degree clay roof. And if I go out into 3D, I can see exactly what it's going to look like. I can visualize with my client so they can understand the exact design that I've come up with for them. And while I'm out here in 3D, I'm going to make some changes again. What if on this one face right here, this side of the roof, they decided that they wanted it to have maybe a gable. I'm going to tilt this down a bit. See these little arrows projecting off of each individual surface? Those arrows hold the information about pitch, plate height, style. So right now it's saying all of these arrows are 30 degrees. They are all hips. So if I take this one, or I can do multiple at the same time, I can do both fronts, or I can also pick this one at the very back. Both of them are green. Both of them are going to be updated when I look at their properties. And when I look up at their properties, I'm going to click over here on this roof shape button. and tell it on these sides I want them to be gabled. See under the support and details? That's where you can tell it the support height. Is there a bird's mouth or a seat cut into that rafter? You can use that information. Again, appearance. What does that tile look like? It's just a JPEG. Take a picture of any style of roof, download from your manufacturer, your supplier, the pictures they provide on the internet. Bring that in. Add a price to that material. Add a price to all of the various different products that you're going to need to build that roof. I'm going to click OK, and you can see that that side of the roof now has a gable roof on it. It holds that information about the roof style for me. And I can fly around the roof and see exactly what it's going to look like from all the different sides. Powerful information when you're working with a client and they're having a real hard time understanding what it's going to look like. Now you can bring them right close to the model and show them what it's going to look like and still get the quantities. So how do we get those quantities? Well, we go up here to Tools, we analyze. There you can see the wall panels. I'll hit on those in just a minute. And I can say Generate a Project Estimate. It'll bring up, and I'll just put this in a different format, all of the various materials that we need to order for this project. All of those materials can be strategically put into different groups. So if you wanted to organize this information by phase of construction, give me the wall material, give me the floor material, give me the roof material, give me the windows, give me the doors, all in different phases. You can organize the information by that. Everything can be done by a specific phase and usage so that you can organize this information. This information can be spit out into something as simple as Excel. So if you wanted to get all the quantities and then dump that out into Excel, you can do that and reorganize it or work with whatever package that you're using for your estimating. So it gives that added intelligence. I'm pulling off all of those materials. Going up to Tools and hitting on Wall Panels. With the wall panels that it produces, you can individually pick on each wall panel. And you can see over on the visual, the little red wall down here is the one that it's pointing to. Here's the elevation of that wall. Here's a plan view. And it can also produce a bill of materials for you. And it can also send that bill of materials from the panels out to a CSV file that will communicate with CNC machines to build that wall panel. All you have to do then is I'm going to hit here that I want to insert a panel. And I'll hit close here. And if I come down to the sheet down at the bottom, it has created that panel diagram for me with a detailed list underneath it. I'm just going to zoom up here so you can see the list of all the different products that it needs to order. It can tag them all, give them all different letters of what it needs to order, and go from there. Great way to list out all the materials. From that model as well, you have the ability then to get all of your working drawings from it as well. So we've built this 3D model. How do I get my working drawings generated from it? Well, you have different information up here. I'm going to go to dimension settings. How do you like to dimension? Do you like to dimension with extension lines leading right down, or do you want them cut off? Do you want them to the center line of your opening? Do you dimension to the outside surface, to your stucco, or do you define it to your stud? All of these, so you can customize and do it exactly how you want your dimensions to appear. And then with the style, you can pick whatever style of text you want to as well. So when you go to Tools, Dimensions, Auto Exterior Dimensions, it'll fly those all the way around the building for you. You can even cut a section. So I can create a section through the building. And when I show my framing, I'll be able to get a section of that building. Go to my working drawing sheets. Now I'm in an environment where I'm going to tell it what I want to print out of the model that I'm building. So I come up here to a Smart View. We call them Smart Views because once I make any changes to my model, which I'll show you, I can update them if I choose. You don't have to update them as you make changes because sometimes you want to insert a view to show a remodel project. This was the existing on this particular plan. Now I'm going to go through and update other views, but not the one that I originally inserted. So I'm going to define a smart view, a view of my model that I can update. What I see in this preview is exactly what's going to insert. So from here, I can turn off the visibility of different things. I'm going to put in a secondary view of just the roof. So I'm going to turn it off in my plan view. Perhaps I don't want to see the ceilings and the floors cutting through my openings. I can turn those off as well. Maybe I don't want to see the extent of the terrain. Click OK. It updates to that simple view of my plan. And from there, I can insert it onto my sheet to print out. Again, define a smart view. This time, I'm going to zoom in. And all I want to see this time, I'm going to say display nothing. Turn everything off except my roof. Even my terrain, everything off. Turning everything off except my roof plan here. And then I can bring that in at any scale that I want to. So if I want to go to any different scale, I can do that. So I could say that I want to go to maybe 1 to 100. Click Insert, and I got a nice small little view of my roof plan off to the one side. You can add text. You can add dimensions. You could add whatever information you want to. Tools, text, text with a leader, text. For those of you that are coming from a true CAD background, you recognize the crosshair look. You'll recognize text. It's like MText in AutoCAD. So I can put in text here, and I can type in anything. I'll put in a label or a heading text here and say that this is ground floor plan. And I want to underline all of that. And then underneath that, in a smaller size of text, I'm going to say that the scale equals 1 to 50. And I'll tell it that I don't want that to be underlined. Click OK, and insert that onto my model. So you can put as many notes as you want to. Another sheet of paper, another different view. Now I'm going to define a smart view, and I want to look at the elevation of my model. Here's my front elevation. You can see it in many different types of view types. I want to profile that for you as well. If you had hatch patterns associated to any of the materials, they'll turn on for you. So there's my roof tile. Or I could put it in a rendered outline view. Perhaps I wanted to do more of a formal presentation for my clients, or just a simple hidden line view. And then insert them again at any scale that you want to, and put those through onto your model. So you can have the various views on your sheet. And I'm also going to go back up and define a smart view and go to a section view, that very last view that we had. Zoom out just a bit. And I'm going to come in and turn on absolutely everything. So I'm going to unlock all the different views that may have been locked before. They display all the eyes on. Click OK. Any framing that it's going to cut through, it's now going to show for me. And then I can insert that section. And if I wanted to go further with that, define the smart view again, go back to that section view. What if I wanted to zoom in just in here, just on this door opening, and go to my view again and tell it display nothing? Turn off the eye of everything except my cabinet and my door that I want to show, and turn off everything else. So I got to get this cabinet view of that wall. And then I can insert that at any scale that I want to as well. So you can have those kind of detailed views. What you see is what you get. So if I zoom on one section, I can create a detail or eliminate things in my view to create a custom type of view. On my last sheet here, what if I defined a smart view and I wanted to use it for presentation purposes? I wanted to do my 3D view, rotate it into the view I want to see, and insert that image and place it on the sheet. Or I can take that same thing, I can insert a smart view, define a smart view again, get into my 3D view, and go to my view filter here and display nothing. The only thing that I want to see is my roof framing and my wall framing. Turn off visibility of everything. It's an intelligent model. It knows how to do that. And then I'm going to tell it, put that in a hidden line view. And turn off my terrain so it doesn't show all of the different portions of the terrain for me. So see, I can create this kind of framed view, and I can insert that as a drawing and place it onto my sheet. Now, client walks in the door. Oops, I want to change. I'm not really happy. Let's change something with the model. Well, I'm going to take this double door here, and I'll click on it, and first of all, I'll flip the opening into the inside, double click on it to bring up its properties. They want a bigger front door, more of an entrance. So I'm going to add side lights on either side of it. And when I look at the lights themselves, you can customize them to be any material, any size that you want them to be, and I click OK. So I've got this changed to my model. I go back to my sheet, and I come up here to update the smart views globally. It'll show me all the views and ask me which ones I want to update and which ones I don't. So again, you don't have to update every view. So if you've inserted a view and you want it to retain that look, because perhaps it was, again, a remodel project, this was the existing, you can uncheck it. And then all you have to do is hit update. It'll look at all the various views and all the various sheets that you have, and it'll update all of them. So you can see that this one's been updated with the front door. So has my front elevation. And under my details, well, I was at the back of the house here, so I don't get to see the change. This one, however, because it was inserted as a 3D view, an image, not a drawing, it's like a photograph taken in that moment in time. So it won't update. It's like a picture. All of this information makes it a true BIM package. The fact that you can pull all of those materials from it. The fact that we give you the opportunity to import different types of file formats. I can import a PDF to start tracing. Perhaps some of you want to use software strictly for estimating purposes. You don't do the design yourself. You just want to use something to estimate. Well, you can import a PDF, trace over top of it with our walls and our doors, and quickly get an estimate of materials that you need. Lots of different building supply stores around the world are using it for strictly that application. What if you're working with other design professionals, structural engineers, or someone that's using a different CAD package, and you want to be able to share file formats with them? Well, we can import a DWG, a DXF, a 3D Studio file, a SketchUp file, and we can export out in those formats as well. So you can share back and forth information. You can bring in JPEGs to trace over top of and bitmaps. You can bring in pictures to put inside, outside the home. So as an example, let me go back outside our house here. And if I wanted to import a photo here, I would just hit import the photo board and click next. Tell it I want to bring something in. And when I'm bringing that in, I'm just going to hit the select button there to go out to my hard drive to find exactly what picture that I want to bring in on the outside of my model. So I'm looking at files that I want to bring in. So I'm just going to find an image to bring in for you. Let me find one quickly for you on my hard drive. I'll bring in Charlie the dog. So say your client has a pet that they're quite enamored with. They want to see him in the design. Maybe they have a heritage piece, an heirloom that they want to see in their design. Well, this gives you the opportunity using this photo board to show them exactly how Charlie's going to sit out front of their door for them, or maybe Charlie has a sister and they've got the couple dogs out there. See how you can personalize the space? Personalizing space and showing that to a client gets them like they're already part of that design. This is their house. There's their dog sitting right out front. We can also import 2020 kitchen design. I'm not sure if it's really relative to your market, but we do allow you to import and export from 2020. We export out in a number of different formats as well. A 2D image, a JPEG, a bitmap, a DWG, a DXF file. The 3D model can also go out in DWG, DXF. It can go out in 3D Studio format, and it can also go out in SketchUp format. You can also send it out to these structural packages if they are relative in your market. What a great way to share information with other design professionals. That's what makes it a true BIM package, is the ability to share that information. Sending the wall panels out to a CNC machine, sending the bill of materials out to Excel, sending this out to all of those different packages that I just mentioned. True BIM package that should make you drive more profit. If I draw this one model, I use it as my presentation piece, I use it as the piece that I'm going to get my estimates from, I use it for my working drawings. You're not segregating your business with all these different software packages. You're integrating it all as one, and Envisioneer becomes your hub of your business. The other portion of that with your working drawings, being able to send those out as well and being able to print them. I'm going to go back over to my presentation now. And I also want to talk a little bit about BIM again. So with BIM, I'm just going to go back here. The one concern you may have about BIM is spillage, the loss of information because it's inaccurate, it's incomplete, or because it can't pass information correctly. So when you're evaluating BIM packages, make sure you give them a test drive and see their accuracy and how they can pass information from one to the other. That's going to be your greatest barrier, is trying to implement it if it's not accurate. So do test drive your different packages. The BIM for small business. If you are a small business, you want to make sure, let me go back there, it must remain easy to use. Just like I showed you today, simple little package, allows you to draw the walls quickly, they're intelligent, but it's all point and click technology that's easy. What are your main goals, your productivity goals? Identify them and target those when you implement the software. What you want to do is the estimate the most important, draw those walls and make sure that you have the information behind the estimate. Is it just conveying the 3D information to a client? Then you can make sure that you have all of your textures and create 3D renderings. We didn't even get into that. We can make photorealistic images that look like a photograph. Just like the ones you see at the top of my screen, these were all created in Envisioneer. They have the look of a true photograph. You tell it where you are in the world. You tell it what time of day it is, and it'll cast down those shades and shadows. Partner with your productivity providers to development and focus your strengths. So if you're going to be sharing information with your BIM package, if your key focus is to be able to send these wall panels out to a CNC machine, work with the people that are working with that. What data do they need? Do you want to work with your estimators? How do they want the information organized in that Excel spreadsheet? Do what you need to do to meet your immediate needs with the potential for growth. I showed you all the different ways you can share that model. Find the one that you want to start with, establish with, and then you can build on from there. For success, it's the usability of information that's easy to learn and share, easily edit building elements with automatic model updates, tracking of building information throughout the project, and sharing that information with your sub-trades and partners, estimating, draft people, linking to structural analysis software. That's what's going to give you success and drive profit in your business by using a BIM package. At this point, I'm going to turn the table over here to Dawn Cable. Dawn is the contact that you have in Australia, and I'm going to turn on the audio for Dawn so he can speak to everyone and talk to them about the products that he offers for the Australian market. Good morning, Don.
Hello, can you hear me?
I certainly can, and everyone else can as well.
Very good. Good morning, everybody. I think there's a few people there that know me, and there's some that don't know me. So I'll just give you a brief history. I've basically been in the building industry for 40 years now as a carpenter and a builder myself. And I've been using Cadsoft products since 1985 when I was an estimator for a large housing company in the Hunter Valley. And doing the estimating, they wanted to bring the drafting in-house, so they didn't want to employ anybody else. So I had to go out and find something, and what I found was a product called AutoPlan, and that was the very first product that is now Cadsoft's products. So I've totally integrated the software back then with the estimating, so basically whatever we drew in the office, we costed it because it went from drawing the model into our estimating program and purchase ordering and everything else. So it was completely integrated. And over the years I've set up a number of large builders. We also work with building designers and architects as well. So what we cover here in Australia is basically the sales, technical support and training of Cadsoft Envisioneer. So basically we can help you by providing you with consulting or training. We do training online or one-on-one in your office, or we also do road trips where we do workshops and stuff like that to try and meet everybody's needs. I also do a number of consulting roles with a number of large companies that have got Envisioneer, and I assist them in setting it up so that it is a total BIM package and it works well for them. So if you have any questions or you'd like to see an online demonstration such as what Chantel's just done for us that's specific to what your industry is, then please give me a call after the webinar finishes and we can organise a time that I can get online individually with you and take you through exactly what you want to see so that you're happy that it will cater for everything you want in your business. So is there any questions, Chantel?
Yeah, we do have some questions to the panel here. The first question that came up is, if I buy, do I get training? So
if you buy, do you get training?
Yeah, if I buy, do I get training? What type of training services do you offer?
Okay, well the training services we offer, basically when you buy the program, you're entitled to, here in Australia, anything that's free from the American website. They have some recordings on there, but we also we used to do 2-day training courses which covered everything, and what we've done now is we've recorded every single lesson that we covered in the 2-day training course to get you up and running, but we sell those videos. So again, we charge for training, but it's specific to you, as well as you're entitled to buy the training videos that we've recorded that is specific to Australia. So that's the only issue we may have. The ones that are on the American website would be specific for America, where I've actually customised everything here in Australia to cater for how we build homes or commercial buildings and so on.
Thanks, Don. They followed up with that saying they had no experience in CAD, so you know that overwhelming feeling of first getting a package. So I think all of those services you provide will help out with that.
Yeah. I also, once you do purchase the program, if you do have difficulty, you do have 30 days free support from me, and I typically, if people have difficulty, get online with them and actually set it up on your computer and take you through the fundamentals of it so that you are up and running and not wasting a lot of time. So that is free of charge.
Okay. The next question that came in, does it do footing and slab? And maybe what I'll do is I'll quickly go back into the Envisioneer product to profile that for you. And the answer is yes, it does. If I come up here to Insert Design Wizard, just like we did with our kitchen builder, there's also a foundation builder. So I can tell it what location I want to build on. So if you're doing slab on grade and footing, you can tell it you're doing a monolithic slab, slab on grade. Because it ships all around the world in 4 different languages, it also does full basements and stem walls and footing, so you can match any kind of system that you need. So basically you're just telling it what type of slab that you're going to be using, the footing that you're going to be using as well. You can pick any size. You can even, if I double click here, you can even have any custom profile of footing style that you want to use as well. So it can, yes, certainly do footings and slabs and any kind of foundation system that you want. Okay, Don, do you do any customization in the Australian catalog that that you sell?
Yes, we do. We do cover for edge beams and internal beams and footings, but with release 10, because there's the addition of the custom profile, I will be adding some information into version 10 to cover step down footings and so on that we do use here in Australia. So that whoever does have the Australian catalogue off me will get that as a free upgrade to the catalogue. And also we are in the process of adding Bradman windows too, because they're being the most popular ones. So I'm also in the midst of adding those specific window sizes, and then I'll go on to the next manufacturer as well. So I'm always updating the catalogue. Once you purchase the Australian information, then anything after that you're entitled to it at a free download.
Perfect. Then the next question was regards to plumbing and electrical plans. So I'm just going to zoom in on our kitchen here where I put that light. I go back to interiors. We have various electrical elements in the catalog as well, and Don, I'm sure you have different ones in your catalog as well. So you can put in your electrical plan, and with our wiring tool, show the light and the switch and any other lights that it might be going to as well. So yes, you can do your wiring diagram. You also have the plumbing fixtures, and if you were wanting to show the plumbing lines for that, we have a lot of flexible tools in the software that allow you to do things like that. A column, people always assume that that means just a structural column, a post, but it can also, because of the profiles that are with it, it can also designate into piping as well. So you can show the different sizes of pipes that you're going to need and use that for your plumbing. And as far as HVAC, because again you have all of these different shapes, you have your different HVAC pieces as well. So it can do those with those different materials as well. That seems to be all of the questions that are up there so far. Oh, there's another one just popping up. Don, here's someone just, one of your clients actually posting up here, and I want to read it out. Read Don's training. As anyone who has had training from Don will tell you, his knowledge is invaluable and will greatly accelerate where you need to be. The cost will soon be forgotten. So Don, someone certainly likes your services out there, and that's just great to hear.
Thank you very much. Anybody that,
second that.
Thank you. Anybody that is new, if you go to cadsoft.com.au on the front page, you'll be able to click on the Australian add-ons and get a PDF document of what we do have in the current Australian catalogue.
Okay, and I had one last question up there about importing a PDF. Can I bring in a PDF and trace over the top of it for you? So I'm just going to hit File and New here and start a new project. And to bring in, I'm just going to turn off my grid. I like to have a clean workspace when I bring in a PDF. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to import a PDF file. And when I import that PDF file, I just look on my hard drive where I have a PDF. So I've got one that's this presentation plan for estimates. Now I'm going to rotate it first of all, so it's sitting correctly on my screen. The one thing that I want you to note when you're bringing in a PDF, PDFs can be created in two different ways. A PDF can be just a scanned image that someone brought through their scanner, and when they do that, that's a raster PDF. So just like the one I have here on the screen, the more I zoom in on a raster PDF, the worse it's going to look because it's made up of little pixels on the screen. You can still bring those in. It's a valid way to bring in a PDF. You can still trace over top of that. But if it's a PDF made out of a package like Envisioneer, that's a CAD package. then that's a vector. Instead of making it up of little pixels, you can see the more I zoom in, the better it looks, because it knows a line is a line. So that's a vector image, and you can bring those in too. And then you're just showing it what you want to bring in. So I can tell it that I want to crop around just this floor plan to bring in. You can set the scale. It'll recognize scales automatically for you and scale it up accordingly, or you can tell it exactly by calibrating the drawing and picking 2 points and telling it the distance. So if you don't trust the scale that it's telling you is on that particular PDF, you can always calibrate it using this pick the scale tool. And then I just hit insert, and a copy of that PDF attaches itself to my cursor, and I place it onto my drawing screen area. From there, I go to my wall tool, pick the style of wall I want to use for my catalog, and from there what I do is I like to insert it by a baseline. So I'm just picking a single line that I'm tracing around the entire extent of the exterior of this building, and I'm going to snap track to my original start point there and tell it I'm finished. I trace around the exterior veneer, and I put them in. When I'm tracing around a PDF, I always like to turn on my solid fill and attach a solid fill to the walls so I can quickly see which walls I have traced around and which ones I haven't, because they come in nice and dark. I've already created, just by drawing those walls, a 3D model that's going to quantify, because those walls have that quantity information behind them. So you can quickly insert a PDF. Remember, there's different ways that they do come in, and you can have that. Another one was the energy calc. When we come to this analyze, another question we had about was up there about energy calc. You can send it out to this right here. We'll send these out to various packages, and one of the ones is Green Building Studio, which is an energy analysis software. So if you look that up on the internet, you'll be able to send it out to Green Building Studio. Other questions? Thanks for the webinar. That was helpful. John, here's one for you. If someone's looking for an easy way to do concrete pier footing systems with steel stumps and bears, do you have that built into your catalog?
No, but we could certainly set that up. So again, if they can just give me a call or an email, and we just set up a suitable time, and I can either get online or they can come and have a cup of tea with me, and we'll go through what they need and ensure that they can do what they want to do.
Wonderful. Well, and he says, I will do that. Thank you. Well, that seems to be all the questions we have up there. Don, do you want to make any final statements before we end off the webinar today?
No, I think I'm pretty good. Again, just if anyone needs to contact me, please do so either after the webinar or via email. Just use my mobile, which Chantel had on the screen. If you can just maybe throw that back up, if that's possible.
I will. I just brought it up to your website here, www.cadsoft.com.au.
Thank you. Yep.
And if I hit contact Cadsoft Australia right here, that will bring up Don's information. So you can contact Don for any more information how you can use Envisioneer as your BIM package to drive yourself more profit. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you do have any questions, make sure you do contact Don for further information. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.